down your chimney and gets you all the stuff you want. So, I'm making this video so you know what to put on your wish list. Some of these things are on my wish list, and some of these things I've already read and have guaranteed that you will love. I'm super excited for this, you guys. Let's go. Number 1, the book on my wish list, Ahsoka. I saw this at Barnes & Noble when I went to go meet Jeff Kinney, just on the shelf, and I instantly fell in love. You couldn't buy it though. So, the thing is, if you know me and have watched my videos a lot, you know that I am a complete Star Wars fanatic, and I love the Clone Wars on Netflix. That is like the greatest show ever invented, and I love it. It's amazing. Just so you know, it ends with a cliffhanger. Ahsoka Tano is the Padawan to Anakin Skywalker, and then she leaves the Jedi Order because they didn't trust her, and then she finally completed her mission, but she doesn't want to be with people who didn't trust her, and it doesn't say anything else about her. It doesn't say, like, she left with the Force and her lightsabers and all. She just left, and it doesn't say anything more about her. And I need to know what happens to Ahsoka Tano! This book is about what happens next, and I am dying to know what happens. That cliffhanger. The next one is The Losers Club. It's by the same author who wrote Frindle, which was one of my first reviews that I ever did. It's about a boy who calls a pen a Frindle, right? He just starts calling a pen a Frindle. And then soon his friends start calling it a Frindle. Then his grade, then his school starts calling it a Frindle. Then his entire city is calling it a Frindle. And he's in the newspaper and on the television because he's changing the word a pen to Frindle. And it's really cool. And this book is called The Losers Club. And it's about a boy who really loves reading. And he doesn't want to play sports or anything, he just wants to read. So he makes himself a thing called Losers Club. And he names it Losers Club because he doesn't want anyone else to join, so he can just read all day. But then soon a few people come trickling in, and then a bunch of people start feeding into the Losers Club. I don't know who those people are. I love that guy's books, so I'm going to be sure to be checking out the Losers Club. I have mentioned Rollergirl in a ton of videos because it's a great graphic novel. It's about a girl who loves roller derby, and then her friend ditches her for another girl, and then they aren't friends anymore, and all this stuff, and she's just a strong character, and she learns more about herself, and she does roller derby, and it's really cool. It's about her finding herself, who she is. It's great, and I love that book. And that author has written a new book, All's Fair in Middle School. It's about a girl who's been homeschooled all her life, and now she's just going to middle school, her first time going to school in ever. And she doesn't exactly fit in. Well, nobody really fits in. I love that author. I loved her first book, and I can't wait to read All's Fair. The next one is Real Friends, and it's written by Shannon Hale, who has written really popular books. She has even written Rapunzel's Revenge, and I love that book. I've loved it ever since I was like, 7? It was great. This is kind of like her biography. Autobiography? Something. She wrote this graphic novel about herself, and it's about the friend drama that she went through when she was a kid, and all the problems that she had in her family and at school and all these things, and it's a graphic novel, and I love it. So be sure to get that book. I have reviewed Swing It Sunny. Well, I've mentioned Swing It Sunny. It's a really good graphic novel about a girl who has to go to her old grandpa's complex where there's a bunch of old people in Florida, and they don't even get to go to Disney World or anything. And there's an alligator, and there's only one other kid, and just a bunch of old ladies with cats, and everything like that. And she tries to keep her sunny side up and be optimistic about it. And I love that. And she has her next book, which is called Swing It Sunny. And I don't really know much about it. All I know is that Sunny is now going to middle school. Well, it was in our book fair at our library at school. And I went in there, right? And I just sat down for a whole recess, like kind of skimming through the book, finding good pages. She like has to take a bunch of allergy shots, and then then for Halloween she dresses up as a nurse, and she like puts mud on her and then pretends that they're like zombie nurses and scares everybody. I don't really know much about it, but it sounds awesome. So make sure to get that, and I am being sure to put that on my business list. The next one is a whole lot of lucky. Think about it. Nobody ever wins the lottery. It's like a 1 out of a million chance. But what if you were that one person out of a million who won the lottery? There's a girl and her family wins the lottery. Before, nope, she did not have the coolest iPhone. She didn't even have a phone. She did not have the coolest bike. She had a worn down bike. She didn't have the coolest clothes. She had hand-me-downs. And now they won $1 million. Have you ever thought of what you would do when you had $1 million? Then she has the best iPhone, clothes, and bike, and everything is great until she gets put in a private school and she's not the coolest anymore. And there's all this friend drama and she doesn't know what to do, and it's just a whole lot of lucky. And sometimes luck isn't the best thing. I don't know. Okay? But this book sounds fun and awesome. I would love a book on like what to do if you were a millionaire. That'd be nice. And it sounds awesome. Now, on a completely different note, have you read the book The One and Only Island? You should have. It's a really good book, told in the perspective of a locked up gorilla at a mall. And it's really good and heartwarming, but not heartbreaking. It's like to the point where you're like, aww, but it's like a yay at the end, not like a hysterical in tears, why? It's okay. That author has written another book, Wish Tree, told in this perspective of a tree. How cool is that? I haven't ever read a book on the perspective of a tree. Anyway, it's called a wish tree because people write their wishes and tie it onto the tree's branches. And the wish tree watches over the neighborhood, and everything is always going well until the new family moves in and everything turns into chaos. Doesn't that sound awesome? I think it does. I think that this is going to be a great book, so you guys should try it out if it sounds great for you. The next book is called Apollo. So everybody says the Percy Jackson series is really good. So I went to the library. It's the right author. It's like a god. It's got the light hanging down and a guy like this. Percy Jackson series. I go and I'm like, here we go. I'm going to read this great book. Everybody says it's so great. I go home. Wow, this is a great book. What? Because that guy meets Percy Jackson in the middle of the book. What? This isn't the Percy Jackson series? It was a spin-off of the Percy Jackson series. It was like one of the other gods. And I was like, oh. But it was a really good book. It made me even more excited to find the actual Percy Jackson series. But I couldn't find it. This book is called Apollo. It's about a god, and he gets kicked down from the heavens up above where he has his 8-pack and his powers and everything. And then he drops down from heaven and gets dumped into a dumpster, beat up by a girl who's like 6 and kicked at by banana peels. And he has acne and flubber and everything. He's been turned into a mortal. Where does 8-pack go? He is not having a good time, and I think it's hilarious how he tries, how he's like, oh my goodness, and he tries to like use his powers on people, but he can't. And it was just a hilarious and great book. And I want the second and third books too, and the first book of the Percy Jackson series, if I can find it. Now, another 2 books. The War That Saved My Life and The War That I Finally Won. These 2 books are based on World War II. And they were like strong girls like Anne of Green Gable trying to be optimistic about things, being like fight strong independent character. Well, it sounds like a sad book. The war that saved my life. It sounds sad. And it's about a girl who has a clubbed foot and an abusive mother and a war going on. I mean, if that isn't already enough to handle. And, it sounds sad. I don't like sad books. I mean, it's kind of like the rhyme that goes, there was a little girl, had a little curl right in the middle of the forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good. When she was bad, she was horrid. That's kind of like me. When I'm happy, I'm very, very happy. And when I am sad, I'm hysterical in tears and my face is all red and puffy and you can't calm me down for an hour. That's why I don't like sad books. I don't like sad songs. I don't like anything sad. I like happy. And I don't like sad books. I just don't. But I'm willing to give these a try because the reviews say that they're really not that sad. I don't want to risk it, but I will try them out. And if you are okay with sadness and can be calmed down in like a second instead of an hour, then this book sounds really good and you should try it. In fact, I'd really like you guys to try it first and tell me how sad it is. The next book is called Fish in a Tree. And it's kind of like out of my mind. It's about a girl who is in the 7th grade, middle school, and she still can't read. And she tries all these ways to cover it up, like being the worst kid in class, being super naughty, and like funny and never doing her work that requires reading or writing. But it's really hard. And she thinks of it as judging a fish. A fish is cool, but if you judge it by how well it's able to climb a tree, fishes can't climb trees. Fishes are still awesome, but they can't climb trees. So it's unfair to judge a fish by something it can't do. And she thinks that it's really wrong for everybody to be judging her because she can't read. And I don't know much else about this book, but it sounds awesome. It sounds heartwarming, not heartbreaking, not like out of my mind where I was like, no, why are they being so mean to her? Did you read Out of My Mind? Did you read the end? Did it kill you? Did it put a spear through your heart? I mean, it was sad. It doesn't sound like it would be that kind of book, so I'm ready to try it. It sounds great. So the next book is called Horizon. I've heard a lot about this book. It's supposed to be really good, and it's by the author of The Uglies, which is a book my mom really loves. It's about kids, and they run a plane that crashed with like 500 people, but there's no bodies. And when they get out, it's not like Earth, it's like a sci-fi book, and like everything's different, and it's like survival and everything like that, but it's crazy. And it sounds really great. And you know what's even cooler about it? It's the same series, right? Horizon? But book number 2 was written by a different author. The author of another great book, False Prince, which my mom also loves and has been trying to get me to read it. And it's by a completely different author. I've been wanting to get into sci-fi novels, and ever since I read Ender's Game, then I have been totally hooked. And does Star Wars count as sci-fi? Yeah, it does. I love sci-fi. Yes! I need that now. Have you read Ender's Game? It's so good. Put Ender's Game on your list. That is just a book. It's like heartwarming, but it's like this guy's like trying to, I can't even explain it. Yes, you got me all riled up. Okay, that is a really good book. Read Ender's Game. And I'm going to read Horizon, and you should probably too. Now for the essentials. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, number 12, The Getaway. That is the essential. If you don't already have that, then you need to get it. And Ender's Game. But you really need to get The Getaway. It is my favorite. I've read it over 52 times. It is great. Dork Diaries, Wimpy Kid, they both recently came out. A ton of pictures, easy words. It sounds like a kindergartner book. and all the teachers say that, but they haven't even given it a chance. They are great. It's like comics, but like awesome and not about superheroes, which I think are lame, but that's okay. Ripley's Believe It or Not and Bet You Didn't Know. These books are really good. I have read both of them. Now you might be thinking, Brooke, those books look like the exact same thing with different covers on them. Well, there are cool facts in both of them. They are both cool facts and stuff like that, but they're all really different. I mean, this one is by National Geographic, and it is kind of focused more on like animals and stuff like that, but it's really interesting. It stuns me. Like, butterflies can see more colors. Okay, butterflies can see more colors than humans can. And rock candy was once made as a medicine. And all these really cool things. Any page you open it up and there's such cool things. Look at this. In your lifetime, you will likely eat 5,000 slices of pizza or 632 whole pizzas. Isn't that a ton? Me and my brothers will just sit down for an hour because there's so many big pictures and stuff like this on each page. And there's just all these really cool facts on every single page, and it's just mind-blowing. So most of them, and I love this, it shows you the differences between things, like dark chocolate versus milk chocolate versus white chocolate. 3 entirely different things. I didn't know. And then this one, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Now, if you're buying a gift for someone, this one is for somebody a little older. This one is for any age, okay? This one's just a little bit older. Me and my brothers can't like really sit down and look at this stuff because some of them are like tattooed faces with a ton of piercings on it, and like people bent over in weird ways and stuff like that, and like people like putting a big old hammer through their tongue and knives through their face and stuff like that. And it's also full of amazing facts and stuff you wouldn't believe that people have done. Like a flower can bloom in space, and there's underwater ice hockey, and a reindeer herd was struck by lightning. But then there's also the gross stuff, like man eats his own sweat. Ew. Oh. All right, you guys, parents, are you watching? If you're a kid, make your parents watch this, okay? These are great gifts for anyone. It's for anybody. You don't need to have like an interest level to do these. If it's like, oh, I like fiction. Well, guess what? This stuff seems like fiction, okay? Well, oh, guess what? I like nonfiction. These are nonfiction. I like sci-fi. This stuff seems like sci-fi. This stuff is mind-blowing to anybody. Rocket scientists? I bet you didn't know that a litter of kittens is called a Kindle, did you? And I think that Ripley's is for sale at Costco. So yeah. Now, Under Locker and Key and the sequel, Arts and Thefts. These books were really good. It's about a kid named Jeremy, who is a retrieval specialist. And he like goes and finds stuff in lockers and stuff like that. He's kind of even like a spy. And he goes through the ventilation systems, getting stuff. You guys, I loved this book so much that I contacted the author to do a video with her so that we can like do another video on these. These are so good. I even think that the second, I never say this, okay? The second book was like a little bit better than the first one. This one was crazy good, you guys. And this one was good as well. I love these books. They are amazing. They're just, I don't know. They're like intriguing, but the fact that they're like my age, it's kind of like the Theodore Boone. It's like, I can do that. Whoa, I can crawl through the ventilation system. You can't, but that's okay because it makes you feel like you can do it. Kind of like Harry Potter, except for you can't really do that, so. But you could crawl through the ventilation systems. Kind of. A little bit. Jeremy can. Last one on my list. I reread this one like 3 times, and I read it the night before bed, and I lost it, so I can't hold it up for you. Can you put like a picture here? Okay. Yay! The Boy Who Painted the World. Now you're gonna say, Brooke, but I thought you said you don't like sad books. Well, guess what? I'm gonna tell you about it, and you're gonna think, that's a sad book. I like sad books, and that sounds crazy sad. But it isn't. It's like you're rooting for the character, and it's not like, oh my goodness, this sounds so sad. It's weird. It doesn't have that sadness to it. It's about a homeless boy who has his only caretaker, who is just like 10 years older than him. I'm taken away because she was shoplifting for his broken hands. And he's always lived homeless, and he's really, really sad. I mean, no, what? He's like trying to find food and survival, and he's like, he loves art though. That's the main thing. The main thing about this book is that he loves art. Every dollar that he makes, he goes and he buys colored pencils because he loves art. He eventually finds a big tree house, and he goes and lives in it. And the girl who owns it knows, and she's an artist, like a crazy good artist. And then they go and live together. And at the end, he paints the world, and hooray! It's more of a hooray book than a wah book. It's like not sad. Okay, I realized that I didn't describe that very well at all. It's like Wonder and Mandy. Mandy is about an orphan, and she goes and she lives in a cottage all by herself, and she grows flowers, and it's kind of like Snow White. She has all these little animal friends, and she has her own little cottage all to herself. It's so great, and it's happy. It's not like you're sad for the character until the end where she gets the flu. So without the flu part at the end, and you're just happy for her the entire time. Yeah. That's the best I can describe it. It's a hard to describe book. It's that good. All right, you read it and tell me. Give me a description, because I can't describe it. All right, you guys, that's it. That is all of the books on my Christmas list. And I hope that you guys got some really good book ideas. And I hope that you're writing your wish list right now and you've got a ton of good books on them. And I hope you're showing this video to your parents and to Santa Claus if you know him. And Santa Claus, if you're watching, Merry Christmas, and may the force be with you. Oh, and I forgot Ender's Game. Read Ender's Game. It's so good. It's about... I need to dedicate a video to this. Next time, you guys. See you next time on Studio B. We'll be doing Ender's Game very soon.